In this video, we're going to talk about the pecs. That's this area here, and it's these two large round muscles here and here. You could call this the upper chest region, and the pecs, as they're called, also called the pectoralis major. And this video is not just for drawing students. It's also for anatomy enthusiasts and bodybuilders, I guess. There's some applications you can use here to improve your pecs. So what I want to start with in talking about the pecs is that the pecs attach to this system of bones here in different ways. There are different attachment points, and that attachment affects the shape of the pec. So just to review the bones very quickly, you have the ribs here. Some people call it the rib cage. That's one point we'll have to think about, the ribs, the rib cage. And then you have these three bones here, 1, 2, and 3, that are fused at this point and this point, forming one large structure called the sternum. Okay. If you haven't heard of sternum before, you could think about this. It's also called the breastbone. Okay, that's another one we're going to think about. So the ribs, the breastbone or sternum. And then the other one is this bone here. And you have another one on the other side. And this bone is called the collarbone. And its real name is the clavicle. The clavicle is attached to the sternum here on that side, and then on the other side it's attached to the shoulder blade. So the shoulder blade is, the scapula is back here, and it actually has these two outcroppings. There's this one here, that's called the coracoid process, and this one actually attaches, we're not going to do it today, but the pectoralis minor attaches in this part of the shoulder blade and kind of comes down to the ribs. But the other part of the shoulder blade is this part here. It's another sort of outcropping, and that attaches here to the clavicle. So now let's talk about the pecs. We can think about the pecs they have 3 different areas that they attach to. Okay, so we're going to start down here, and this area here, closer to your abdomen, closer to the lower part of your body, and the pecs attach to this abdominal head down to about here. So I'm going to draw these lines in the direction of the muscle fibers. Okay, the muscles are attached to the rib cage here, not to the sternum, as you might think. So attaching to the rib cage, it kind of comes up and goes all the way to this muscle, this upper arm, I said muscle, to this bone, this upper arm bone, which is called the humerus. And it attaches to the humerus all the way from that part of your rib cage. So this is the first part of your pec muscle. It looks really low, and you often don't see this developed. Maybe in some extremely shredded people, like Helmut Streibel. I think that's how you're pronouncing it. But for the most part, you won't be able to see this part. So if you're just interested in drawing comic book characters, don't even worry about putting this part in. But if you're interested in training your pecs, the lowest side you'd have to train to develop this particular one. Now these strands, these muscle strands, are underneath the main part of your pec, which is here. Okay, so these attach to the humerus muscle like this. Now, most of the pecs are attached to the sternum. The sternum muscle all the way across, all the way and up to here. And these attach pretty much in a straight line all the way down your sternum and go to about this point. So I'll just draw some of these in. And this is pretty much a triangle. Now these strands here go over and they kind of twist around. Like this. Now I'll just for clarity's sake, I'll just add some color here so you get a better idea of what I'm talking about. You can see here it's more or less a triangle all the way down the sternum. And they're, again, attaching to the bone here. Now, this area here, you have the abdominal head going underneath. So it's underneath. And this sternal or sternocostal head, the part that's attached to the sternum, it sort of wraps around. So that's where you get this nice shelf, I think they call, just underneath the pec. So it's here. What you see is the fibers that are twisting underneath. Something like that. Now it's just this abdominal head here will go underneath this, all of this, and attach here. But all of these attach at this point on the humerus. Now, here, maybe I'll just write down the names so you know. So this is the this area here. Abdominal head. Again, abdominal because it's closer to the abdomen. Okay. And then this is the sterno for sternum. Sternocostal, or the side head here. And then the top part of your pecs are attached here to the clavicle. That's the clavicular head. Now, the clavicular head, or the upper pecs, do not attach to the entire clavicle. They just go to about half of the clavicle. So we're talking about there, to about there. And these will attach like this. I'll just color that in too. And where the clavicular head and the sternocostal head hit each other, you may get a little crease. And in really ripped bodybuilders, you're actually going to see this quite pronounced. It'll come in and back out. And that's just because these muscles are actually bundles of muscle fibers, and they can bundle in different unique ways according to your particular genetics. But sometimes when you do see very well-defined pecs, you can see these sort of muscle bundles. And you do even see some comic book artists start to articulate some of these bundles like this. So that's the pec muscle. Now underneath all of these, this is all of here, just for completion's sake, clavicular head. All three of these, the clavicular, the sternocostal, and the abdominal head, are all part of the pectoralis major. Now, as I said at the very beginning, there is another muscle just underneath here, and it's attached to this part of the scapula. I'll just on this side, a little outcropping, and that's the pectoralis minor. And if you're just interested in drawing characters, you don't need to worry about drawing the pectoralis minor at all, but it basically attaches to that outcropping there in the scapula. That's called the coracoid process. And it goes to, I believe, this. Maybe, I think it might be this one. I'm not sure. It's the 5th or 6th rib. And then part of it goes to this one, next rib, and lastly to that rib. Not entirely sure. I really don't draw this one very often, but it's basically tucked underneath. But that still does give you, if you build it up, some additional volume and bulk here. So yeah, that's the pec. It's broken into 3 parts, and so you really do need to train those parts separately and individually. If you're into bodybuilding, you're going to do some exercises that will activate the clavicular head more, and then this main part of the pec, the sternocostal head, will be kind of your main exercises, I would believe. And then lastly, these sort of lower pecs underneath this abdominal head, which attach, kind of go underneath and attach like that. You can imagine it. That's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Have a wonderful, creative week.